I think to be human is we all have a road in life, and that road will always split. There'll always be a fork in it. Sometimes you'll diverge from that path for a while, and you'll try and do other stuff, and that's okay. But in the end, you know that whatever path you take, it'll be the one you choose, the one you're most happy with. And as long as you're happy with what you choose, that's what should matter.
It should always come from the heart.
It should always come. You should never let somebody choose your road for you, because you need to find that, control in your life. Because if you don't have control, you don't know what road you're taking. You're just taking what other people want you to take.
If you take it, you might have regret later on.
Or resentment.
You might regret what you did. You might not like what you're doing. You might have wanted to been, I wanted to be a dancer, but, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, so I went to doctor school, and halfway through doctor school, you're not liking it, and now you regret not going and saying, I don't want to be a doctor. You need to find a time. You need to know what you want. You need to tell people that's what I want to do. You need to just become yourself.
Mm-hmm.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yo, what's up? This is Boho Hobo, and we welcome you all back to BINDLISM, a philosophy to a self-sufficient lifestyle. The purpose of BINDLISM is to unlock authentic perspective as we create a community of like-minded individuals who are living a self-sufficient lifestyle. A self-sufficient lifestyle is one in which a human being is activating their self-awareness to curate an authentic life that keeps them sustained mentally, emotionally, and physically in their adventure towards self-fulfillment. Boho Hobo's mission is to support a community that fosters this culture. We will be interviewing a diverse group of people, including artists, creatives, entrepreneurs, and independent thinkers to make this happen. Please join us in this journey as we explore the world and broaden our horizons with discoveries of new perspective. Thank you to everyone who is taking the time to stop by on your journey to give us a listen. We hope you enjoy, and as always, explore endlessly.
Welcome everyone to BINDLISM. This is episode 50. Big milestone for Kyle and I. It's been a long time coming. Actually was just talking to our guests here about how long we've been doing the podcast. It's been a little over 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August. So There you go. So we are here with our guest, Josh Montreal. We'll have him introduce himself in a second. But we're really excited for this episode. Like I said, it's a big milestone. Josh, why don't you tell the people who you are and what you do, and then we'll kind of get into it.
All right. Hi, I'm Josh Montreal, and I am an author, or upcoming author at the moment, and I'm writing a book called Night in New York.
Cool. So you're an author, and I guess how did you get into writing initially?
So writing for me has always kind of been like an escape. When I was younger, I used to have like a lot of stress and anger issues, and I used to take it out on people, especially like when I was very young, like in elementary and middle school, and I really just hated doing that. And as I grew up, I just started to write out all my... I made characters get angry for me. It was kind of like the whole basis of it. So I would just make it, whenever I got upset, I got angry or anything, I'd just write a character and I'd just breathe. And it was kind of just an escape, and I slowly came to like it, and so my characters didn't just become these angry people, they became more and more complex. So I wrote little short stories, and those short stories became longer and longer, and then I realized I just really liked writing at that point.
What kind of characters?
So the first one I wrote was my most violent, because it was when I was always angry. It was called The Organ Harvester. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was like a high school emo kind of face.
Okay.
He was just he was always angry. He would only I would only write about him when I was angry or when I was just upset, and then as it went on, I just started to make a whole storyline for him. I tried to make him more sympathetic, more than just two-dimensional. And so I just wrote an entire book based on one anger issue. And then after that, I decided to keep going.
So what age were you when you wrote that?
So, for the organ harvester, I started it when I was 17 in February, and then I finished it the next year in February.
Okay. So that was like a year-long process of like
Yeah.
hashing out how that.
Yeah. It
Well,
was,
I guess it seems like you didn't initially do it with
I
the
didn't
thought of
kn- I-
making a.
what
full thing.
my process was, I didn't have the idea to actually make him like an entire story, an entire world. I just made him just to, get the sense of just relief for myself.
Yeah, it's like a really healthy alternative.
Yeah.
It's like a meditative form for
Yeah.
you.
For me, yeah, it's better than just screaming or shouting or anything. Writing is just get lost in my own head.
Yeah, and you got to get it out somewhat.
Yeah, I gotta
some
get it
way.
out, and I don't like being mean to people or putting my problems on other people. So I just like write and I just let it all out through my head.
Do you do journaling too?
Journalism?
Yeah.
Uh,
Not like journalism, but like when you get your thoughts and stuff, do you journal them down?
Oh, like in a notebook or a diary?
Yeah, just trying to understand like your writing process.
Sometimes. I try doing that, but I can never be consistent with it. It was mainly just with like the characters I wrote.
Okay.
So there was never like, Dear Diary or anything.
Now, do the characters have like different names?
Yeah,
And
so the
personality.
organ harvester is James. And then I wrote another character. It was like a whole werewolf. It was Ralph, and then so on and so forth. I made a lot of characters.
So what are your obviously like we understand kind of why you started writing, but what are some of the inspirations that help you write now that you've really gotten into it more?
So it was kind of like movies. I know I should say like reading, but I wasn't much of a reader before then. I'm big into the MCU, and watching those scenes and everything. I kind of like as I'm writing, I imagine those scenes in my head, kind of like a trailer. And so I just like as I'm imagining what's happening in my head, I'm writing it down and trying to make it so people who read it can imagine the same scene.
Ooh, that's it. Yeah, that's actually.
I kind of like to call it like the whole trailer writing because you're making a little trailer each paragraph.
That's very interesting. So, so how many actual stories have you written thus far?
So the first book I wrote, I self-published it. It was The Organ Harvester. I was trying to do a whole superhero thing, but I didn't have an editor or anything, and I just put it out without looking it over, and it was kind of a mess. But the second book, which is A Night in New York, which is a little more kid-friendly, it's more family-friendly, that's something I actually have people helping me with. It's something I'm, thinking more about, like a longer story, stuff I've already planned ahead. And it would be the second one. Anything before, like, Night in New York and Organ Harvester were just short stories I wrote on my own.
Okay. So have you put out any of those short stories?
No.
More for yourself?
More for myself.
Gotcha.
Some can be, like, really gory, and I don't know how some people would take it. I took a creative writing class in college, and we did poetry, and I did submit poetry to my professor to put in a magazine, but I don't know if I ever made it.
What college did you go to?
I go to Mohawk Valley.
You still go?
Yeah, I still go. I'm going back at the end of the month. Or, I mean, at the end of August.
What year are you?
It'll be my second year. I always forget what comes after freshman.
Sophomore?
Sophomore.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So that's a 2-year college?
It's a 2-year college,
Okay.
and then I go on to another college.
So do you have plans for where you're gonna go after that?
I don't know, really. I haven't really thought that far ahead, which is, not that responsible of me.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
But so I guess are you going to school for writing, or what's your major? I guess.
My major is general studies,
Okay.
since they didn't have a major for writing.
Got it.
So I just take general studies, and then I do all the writing, like all the classes on the side
it.
that are writing.
So you're kind of preparing yourself for an actual writing major then. Okay.
I'm just trying to prepare myself. I'll take any writing class. I've taken English. I've taken journalism, creative writing. I'm trying my best in everything.
Cool. So far, what's your favorite like area of writing? What at least based on classes you've taken?
Creative, because that's where you're going to be more, like, there's no, like, restrictions. because with creative writing, they just said, I just want a story, and then they'll choose like a topic or a genre, and you just have to write that story. And it was pretty easy because, they give you about like 2 weeks, and you just gotta write a short story. They give you a genre, you just go and do it, and you just get graded on how you did with writing, how long it was. Sometimes it would be over like 2,000 words, kind of like a minimum, and that was it. And it was the easiest for me.
So to get into like the different characters that you've created, you have the organ harvester. Do you have any other ones that you wanted to talk about?
So I try to make like a whole superhero team. I have the organ harvester. One was called Gatekeeper, the dragon, Rage, which was the werewolf, and the monster hunter.
So out of those, which one's your favorite?
The organ harvester, because it was supposed to be like a mirror of me.
Okay.
So one I mainly connect with. The other 4 are supposed to be my friends, which I've...
Like supporting characters.
Yeah, supporting characters, which I've made because, what were once, frustrations, have now become my friends. And so it's become better.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So do you, I know, like, you're on the writing side, but have you ever thought about maybe, like, in the future, like, working with, like, an animator or something to kind of bring these characters
I would
to life?
love to do that. Even seeing, like, the cover art, like, I saw... When I went to go see Don, and he showed me the cover art, it was just so awesome to see that.
So did someone else make the cover art for you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But it's just really awesome to see that because when you're writing, you don't... Well, for me, when I was writing, I'd never imagined just to see, like, my creations come to life, except for my sloppy drawings. But it was so awesome to see. There was 2 people drawing. One made a cover, and it was really cool to see that. See Roland and all his armor, and Amanda was all the magic. And another one was a scene where, I don't want to spoil too much, but Roland was doing some awesome stuff, and it looked amazing. And it's just so cool to see that.
Yeah, so to just backstep a little bit to give people context. So we know Don, the guy that you mentioned, through the co-works. It's called Common Space now, correct?
Yeah, Common Space.
Okay, and Andy and I, we were working out of the co-works with Boho Hobo, doing the podcast, probably around episode 20 to
like
30.
any of the episodes where we were in like the podcast booth would be. So I mean, if you watch any of the videos, you'll see that it's pretty much a full soundproof box, which I'm kind of glad we don't use anymore because it would get hot. But yeah,
especially during the summer, it's gonna be horrible.
Oh god, we did too many of them in the summer there.
But yeah, we met Don through the co-works. He was, I forget how, but I think it was just like one of our podcasts. We were leaving out of the building. We met up with him. He told us about how he was helping people make board games, and then he met you through helping you making the storyline or the board game.
No. So Don explained this to me that basically he does the board game stuff, but also works. I forget. Do you know the name of like the group?
Black Harbor?
Yeah, that
Black Harbor Games is what they were.
Yeah.
And then they were pushing to
do
publishing.
Black
Harbor.
So
Okay.
so they're also doing It basically
so it's like multimedia.
It's like in tandem with basically helping people like create a board game that can sell on the market as well as like publish books and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of all intertwined.
So just kind of like connecting the two stories together. Do you want to give us like how you specifically met Don?
I met Don the first time I met him. It was we were making a board game. It was me, my father, and my stepmother. It was just something to do. And we were just making it. And then after, I guess my stepmom talked to Don. She told him I was like a writer. I don't know what the exact story was. But for my birthday, she got me a contract to work with them because they were pushing into the Black Harbor Press. And at first, I was like, no, I can do this on my own, which was very stupid of me. And so I didn't talk to him for like a couple months. And because I was mainly focused on the organ harvester because I was still working on that at that point.
But you were like 17 at the time?
I turned 18.
Okay. So it's only been a year then, since then. Okay.
I did start it when I first got the contract, but I was like, nah, I'm like halfway with the organ harvester. I really want to finish that. And so I didn't call him or anything. I didn't contact him for a few months. which was very stupid of me because he's very nice and he's been helping me a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that whole community at the common space is very helpful.
Yeah, they're very nice.
And
I guess I was just shy at first.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, he's been helping a lot. And when I first met him for the book, he was just very great. He helped me just understand the whole contract and everything. And then after that, I met with him other times, just tell him how the progress was going. And then the last time we met, which was when I was done with the book, not the last time, but the time before, I was just so happy. Because he was happy, I was happy, everyone. It was just a great feeling. I met one of the other authors. And, you know, it was just a really calm and cool space.
Yeah, definitely. And you're making comics.
Yeah.
Literally.
So, so you kind of explained to us before, but I guess, how about this? Why don't you explain what the story that you're working on right now is about without spoiling everything?
Right, I've been trying to practice my elevator pitch for this because I always get nervous and I stutter. So,
take your time.
So, a night in New York. So our story is about the last night. He was a knight of King Arthur's court of the Round Table, and he's the last after a siege on Camelot. He is tasked by Merlin to find the next master wizard, and like I said, the stutter. So he's encased in stone, and as such, he's basically traveling through time until the next master wizard comes, and that's when we meet Amanda, and at the time where Amanda gets the book, Roland is free from the stone, and at the same time we learn that an old evil wizard has taken over New York and is under disguise, and so it's kind of a whole adventure kind of story.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I always get it like I have an idea of what I want to say in my head, then I just get stuttering.
So what would you say, I guess, the target audience is for this book?
So, young adults, definitely. I try to make it, like, you know, as friendly as possible, but also try and make the characters, you know, feel like they're human as well. You know, my main character has an inhaler because, you know, when you have all this magic power, you don't feel like they could be hurt. So I gave her something to make her feel a little more vulnerable, more human.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea. So, I guess if you were gonna, like, give it a rating, like a movie, like, what would it be? Like, G, PG, PG-13? What?
I would say about PG to PG-13.
Okay.
There are, like, just a few dark parts, but not, like, the entire story. The entire story is just, like, fun, like, fighting a monster kind of thing.
Cool.
Just curious with the name Organ Harvester. That's a pretty gruesome name.
Yeah.
Can you give us some like context, background as far as like why that name?
I could tell you. So,
granted, it's pretty straightforward, but like I feel like
I can tell you where I got the idea
here.
from.
Okay.
So when I was thinking about the Organ Harvester, I was thinking of like Robin Hood, because Robin Hood had this whole, you know, steal from the rich, give to the poor. And so and everyone has done it before, and I was thinking, what's a really messed up way of doing that? And so the Organ Harvest ideology is take from those which are like bad guys or people who don't value life as much and give to those who would use it better. And so that's kind of the messed up ideology he has. It's like a reverse Robin Hood. He's not the good guy, or he thinks he's the good guy, but he's really just like a really awful like person in such a way.
It's kind of psychotic. But in a good way.
In a good way. He has good intentions.
So he's harvesting the organs of bad people?
Yeah.
At least who he deems as bad?
Yeah, exactly. Who he deems as like a bad guy. Trust me, it's the whole story I have to fix.
So do you plan on going back and like?
Oh yeah, I've already started like, I kind of like, I still have the original story, but I've kind of like started like a whole clean slate. I'm keeping some parts and, you know, getting rid of others that weren't really necessary, because the Organ Harvester still means a lot to me, even though he is, like, you know, very gruesome.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was, like, the first story, and it means a lot, and I already have this whole idea for a storyline for him and all the other characters I made, which I'm making on the side as I focus on The Night in New York.
So are you going to work with Don to publish that as well?
Oh, no, Don, He
wants
family friendly, kid friendly type stuff. I tried, that was the first one I tried. He's like,
No.
no. He helped me, like, told me, like, tips, like he read through, like, a little bit of it, gave me tips, like, asked about this and that, and, it helped a lot with how I'm doing it right now, and you didn't have to do that. It was really nice of him.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're gonna just do that kind of independently to get that
I'll do
out?
that independently and find someone who would do that. I don't want to push it on Don if he wants to keep it PG.
Right.
I don't mind doing it.
And it gives you more freedom to
Yeah.
just like be yourself with what you're creating,
Mhm.
which is ultimately in the long run, I think, what as an artist or creative, what they want in general.
True. Having that
Yeah.
autonomy. We didn't even talk about this. Where are you from?
I am from Cicero.
Okay, so you go to CNS, or you went to CNS?
I went to
Got
CNS.
it. Okay.
I now go to Mohawk.
Yeah, got you. So I know you said you didn't really get into like writing these stories and stuff until in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I guess like growing up, do you think that there's parts of your life that kind of
Yeah.
helped get you to that point?
Well, it was more like sad parts than good parts. It was kind of after my parents' divorce. It was kind of when it happened because I was very emotional. I was in 5th grade, I believe. It was just very emotional for me. I was in middle school. I was crying a lot because my mother had left in the middle of the night.
Oh wow.
It was after a trip to New York, after we came home, she just left.
Gone.
She didn't even say bye.
Wow.
And, it was very emotional. And, I just didn't know how to just control my emotions. So I just did what I always do. I made characters. Because, that's when Marvel's doing all their movies. Or still doing their movies, but that's when, like, Iron Man and stuff.
Yeah.
And all the popular, like, Avengers. So I just started just writing the superhero stories. They came darker and darker as I got older. But yeah, like big moments like that because I just had too much like pent up emotion after all that.
Yeah.
So, are you still in contact with your mom, or is she literally just ghosted?
She left. I tried seeing her, but she was not the same person I thought she was. She was very narcissistic. She only wanted to see me, just make herself look good in court and all that. So I just saw for years I only saw her mask, and then after she left, it just came off.
Looking at the flip side, do you
Yeah.
think if that didn't happen, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now?
I don't think so. When I was younger, I wanted to be a zoologist.
Interesting.
But then after all that, I just just fell down. I just didn't know how to pick myself up, so I just stayed down for a few years, just writing my stories. It was hard for me to even make friends for a couple years because I was in that emotional state.
Yeah,
Everything
of course.
pissed me off. Sorry, I don't.
That's
No,
fine.
you're fine.
Everything just really made me angry. I always got very emotional after. I just didn't know how to control my emotions. And that's when I just one day just started, like, people made fun of me about it, and that's when one day I just decided just to accept the insults. And I was just like, one time just someone said, "Well, you're crazy." I'm like, "You're right." And I just slowly just started becoming a class clown. I found, I made myself happy by making other people laugh, and I made my first friend, Dan Murphy. I met him in 7th grade, and that's when my whole, crazy personality came out during school. Like, we're friends. I literally said, we're friends now, and he was just fine with it, and I loved it.
So you're still friends with him?
Yeah, I told him about the podcast. He's gonna listen to it later.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's been my friend ever since, and I love him.
Are you guys still going to school together? Same college and everything?
So I go to Mohawk. He goes to one 15 minutes away, so he can always just drive over.
Oh, okay.
So we're still friends.
Where is Mohawk Valley?
It's in Utica.
Utica.
It's like 45 minutes away. It's hard to explain.
So you live on campus?
I live on campus
Okay.
because I don't drive. I just finished the 5-hour actually yesterday.
Oh, okay. So you're close.
I'm close. I have to wait, a couple of days because I had to do it online,
Mhm.
and then I'll get it, and hopefully not fail again.
And that's because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
That you had to do that?
Well, I tried to like find a driving school, but all the hours varied, and I'm working at Taco Bell, so some days I had off to do it, some days I didn't, and I couldn't find like the day I could. So I just paid to do it online, and so I just did it online. I just read through it, press continue, read through it. They would make sure you were still doing it yourself, so they would like make you call a number, and they would make you do exams, but I did it just fine.
But you'll still have to do like the regular driving, right?
Yeah,
After-
I'm still gonna drive. I don't think
Okay.
someone's just gonna be like, "Oh, hey, cool."
Yeah.
It's okay. I play Grand
So
Theft
you
Auto.
have-
I know
so
what
you-
I'm doing.
So you have your permit, yes?
I have my permit.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I got my permit like a year or two ago. When I got my 5-hour, I was just so nervous about when to do it. Because when I was taking driving lessons, the guy I was driving with told me, do not do it during winter. It's going to be way worse.
Yeah.
And
Especially up here.
exactly. He said, you want to do it in Syracuse. He was telling me all these tips, and I was just trying to find like a day, like, okay, so I shouldn't do it when it's raining. I shouldn't do it like this and that. And I just got so stressed that when the final day came, because it's like a year and then I expired and then got to take another one, I was only able to do one. I got so nervous that I didn't sleep.
Oh.
I kept myself up, but I realized that I was not going to pass,
Mm.
and I didn't. And I just was like, this is what happens when I just stress out about something too much.
Yeah.
I just tend to get nervous.
So you failed the driving test itself.
Yeah, the driving
Okay.
tests.
Do you know like what part they like flagged you for?
I did not use the blinker when I turned out.
Oh.
Right at the beginning.
Oh man.
Even my dad told me, all right,
That's
don't
tough.
forget to turn on your blinker, and I forgot to do it. I was like, well, and then there was a few other parts. When I was doing a parallel park, I'm not supposed to use the camera on the dash, but I guess my eyes were kind of glancing, and he even put a paper up there, but I guess it was too late, and I think that's kind of what sealed the deal. I was able to do a 3-point turn, so that's
good.
That's something.
Yeah. I was gonna say when I took my driver, so I passed mine on the first try, but
Oh, well, look at you.
I'm over here just gassing myself up.
Oh wow.
No, I almost failed though because I didn't look like far enough when I changed lanes,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
the
made
whole 3 mirror.
and I made the person that was doing my test feel uncomfortable, is what he said, and I was like, all right. Don't
But
act
you
like
still passed.
Yeah.
So
Like
How
I think he
uncomfortable,
just
really?
had to find a reason to not give me like a perfect score or whatever.
right.
So he was like, "Oh, you did that."
I'm
so
not giving you an A
dude,
plus. Listen, all right. You're not supposed to get it on the first try, kid. Jeez.
That guy was so I don't know who like what kind of person you had.
My guy was just like really. I said, "Hi, how you doing?" He said, "All right, go ahead and pull
Yeah.
out," and I'm like, "Great."
Yeah, so the guy I had, he was wearing aviators, so it's kind of like that. It was like mirrored aviators, so it kind of gave that like authoritative like feel,
Yeah.
you know, where they're trying to intimidate you.
Like a whole
Yeah.
like prison warden.
Yeah, and it's like,
It's not that
am
intimidating.
I supposed to be intimidated while I'm driving? Like, I don't understand.
I can't really be intimidated by a guy with a clipboard and just like watch me drive.
I'm like,
yeah.
your job is to test people to get their license.
See, I think my problem was I drive with my dad a lot, but when driving with someone new, I have no idea like what he'll call me out on. Because my dad will call me out on stuff, but he won't be. He'll just be like, "Oh no, you can't do that." But the guy just like sits
Let
over
it
here.
happen.
He just clicks a pen, just like, mm-hmm. He
yeah,
just writes something down like, "Was it good? Was it bad?" And I just get stressed, and I'm
Yeah.
I have no idea what I did was wrong or right.
Well, hopefully next time around you're a little bit more
Hopefully.
relaxed.
Well, I know what to do. I know what to do. It's called sleeping beforehand.
Hey.
yeah, and using your signal.
Yeah, use the signal. Don't use the little video camera to back up. I have a whole plan.
So you to get back on about your book here. You were telling us a little bit beforehand about kind of like the process and everything, but for the listener, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about what the process looks like and kind of where you're at in that process, to publish it, I guess.
Oh, to publish?
Yeah. Like what does that process look like to get it to the point of actually
Getting it
being published and then where you're at?
So you first start out is you meet your publisher, which was Don. We went over everything. He gave me the papers. He explained. You always want to make sure you read a contract. But he explained to me about all like the whole percentages because you are gonna have to share a percentage with the person helping you get it published. He just said, how many words are you gonna do? How many pages? We agreed on at least 75,000, but we knew I was gonna go over that because I didn't have like a set goal of how many words I was gonna have. So we just wrote 75, and I did go over 75. And then, how many pages, what's the official name, and, you just have to write your name. And I needed a witness, so my stepmom was my witness to the contract, and he had his wife, Joyce. And so that was the contract, and then when you sign that contract, like any other contract, you're obliged to do what you signed for.
You're bound
And
to
so, I wanted to get it done. So when I signed the contract, it was in June. I wanted to get it done before Christmas, but school got a lot in the way, and so I really didn't get done until this June when I was able to finish in about. I actually finished like a little before June, about like May to April-ish, and that was mainly because of Corona.
Yeah.
Mainly because when as soon as like we got to leave school, I had no like schedule anymore, and I could just get up, do the work, and just do whatever I want after. I didn't have to go to class for hour and a half or 2 hours, and I just did everything online. I actually did better online than I did going to class. I got an A and 2 B's. I didn't even know how I got a B in history. But yeah, I was actually very happy. I know Corona was like horrible. It's like I'm tired about it.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
because of that, I was able to get it done much earlier than I planned on. But back to it. You want to get it, like, you can get it done, right? You can write out everything you want. It doesn't have to be perfect because they're going to edit it. And, when I met up with them again after it was done, they asked about story details, like how old is your character, like where does this take place and all that. So it'll be like common questions, like they'll ask about, like, for me, like the magic system, how does it work? And Roland, like the knight, like what's his whole thing. They'll ask you like story questions or stuff that you haven't really like explained all the way through.
Got it.
And then when that's done, they showed me some edits they did. Like they added like a few words, or they like crossed stuff out, and they had a suggestion. But that's their suggestion. You don't have to take it. But I personally did like it. And then after that, you just wait. They're going to get... And right now, I'm just waiting for an edited draft. I'm going to pick up on August 10th. And then after that, I'm going to read through it. I'll tell them what I liked, what I didn't like. And when that's done, that's when, like, the real, like, book-making process comes together. And for us, we also had an audiobook.
Nice.
And if you do magic and you make up magic words... What we're doing is I'm going to say the word because they couldn't really think of any, they couldn't really know how to pronounce any of the words I wrote. So I'm going to say the word, and they're going to give it to the person who's going to do the audiobook, and they're going to listen to it and they're going to say it back because I love making the magic words because I can make them whenever I wanted.
Right.
And I made one for a lightning spell, and I call it Hicting.
Hicting.
Yeah, and it's spelled nothing like that.
Yeah.
And I just loved it because it's like this whole red herring.
I love that.
But yeah, that's kind of the whole process right now.
So if you're reading the book then, and you're reading a magical word so you kind of like leave that to people to figure out how to pronounce it?
Well, I'm trying to put them in the place of our main character because this is the first time she's using magic, and so she's confused as well.
Okay.
That's kind of like the whole process. Like, let's say you got a magic book and you just saw all these random words. You don't know how to say it. You don't know what you're doing. So it's just like you're doing it to the best of your ability.
So from this,
cool.
like you were talking about a magical system.
Yeah.
What does that kind of consist of?
So for my magic system, you need a soul is what I kind of drew it out to be. Because without a soul, you can't connect to magic. Your soul's kind of like
a human soul, spirit.
like anything, a monster can have a soul, a human can have a soul. Like if you're alive, you have a soul, and your soul is kind of like a connection. Like there's you, there's your soul, and then there's the magic. It's kind of like the bridge. It's like what helps you like obtain the magic.
It's like the energy of the being.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Kind of like a whole like inner strength.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the main things is our main wizard, our main bad guy, like there's like good souls, there's bad souls, there's like a whole lot of souls. His soul got cleansed and he couldn't connect to any magic. So what he's doing is he's kind of, I want to spoil this part too much, but he's doing something with souls in New York so he can fix his.
Mm.
And so I just like the whole idea because, you know, with souls, you can also do something about like why everyone hates necromancy, because like every story in necromancy, which is like undead magic, it's always like despised and hated.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you can always like tell stories about like how monsters got magic, like explain how they did it and all that.
Mm. So this book, that the main character she finds it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a book of spells, or like what does that look like?
So it's Merlin's spell book. So
Okay.
how it works is Merlin put an illusionary spell on it. So only the next master wizard can truly see what it is. To everyone else, it's like an old, soggy, moldy book.
Got it.
And so to her, it's like this nice, you know, like red velvet fabric. It's like brand new. But to everyone else, it's just this really old book in a stone.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, and she has no idea that it's being presented to her and not to
Yeah,
anyone else.
it's like it's like that one moment where she sees what no one else can. It's like that one defining moment where she's like the odd person out.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and I also did the book in the stone, reminiscent to the sword in the stone.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it just kind of like revealed itself randomly, like
Yeah.
as the story goes.
Mm-hmm.
So your book. What do you think timeline wise? When do you think it'll be like ready for the public?
We're saying December to January.
Okay, so a little less than half a year left to go.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan for the release? Are you doing? I know with COVID and everything, that might kind of makes it interesting.
Don was talking about doing like a whole book signing when everyone else was doing it as well. They talked about the Landmark Theater, but then renovations started and then COVID started, so we don't know about that anymore. But they still want to do a book signing. We just don't know if we'll still do it at the Landmark or somewhere else.
Got you.
And I think I told him about the podcast today. I emailed him, so there's that. Everyone, he
Some
put it on the
publicity,
Facebook.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
we can like chop up clips too if you want to like redistribute or whatever.
It's all right. I'm not really like a whole like social media person.
mhm,
I have accounts. I just don't ever use them that much.
that's
Okay.
fair.
And maybe Don can help you with that,
Probably.
or we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well.
So where would people be able to find the book once it's available?
That's something I don't know yet. Sorry.
That's fine.
We were just mainly talking about like we're still like in the process of just getting the book. We don't know where it'll be ready to available. Well, I think they'll be available on the website, the Black Harbor website.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know like in stores. I don't know where we're planning that yet.
But I'm assuming Don's gonna help with that process.
I think when we have like everything set in stone, we have the whole like book like while it's being made, we'll think of places.
Yeah, I would think maybe like Amazon would be a good place.
Right.
Yeah.
Wide reach,
Mm-hmm. I think that was actually one of them
really
too.
accessible.
Barnes and Nobles,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I mean, that's exciting though. Like the thought of like your own book in a store.
I know. I just, it'd be cool to have it in Barnes and Noble and everything. I just don't know where we'll have it yet.
Yeah.
Because
there's definitely other added costs.
yeah,
to
there's
that
added
stuff.
costs of having it in like certain stores and stuff, like having like a bulk in store. So I just
that's
don't
true.
know yet. So I don't want to say we'll have it here
Yeah.
and not have it here.
So financially, what how much of a financial burden is like this process?
Like how so?
Like meaning like just like making the book in general. Like how much like if someone's interested in say getting a book published, like what kind of
So
like how much
you-
money do you think they would need to?
You have to
realistically
pay
get
for the
that?
contract. My stepmother paid for it. I don't know how much it was. I don't think she ever told me. But you need you need something to write on. I have my laptop. It was about $400, and I used Google Docs, but I got Word. I'm getting Word as well. So Word also costs some money. You also you just need to have just the you just need something to write.
Yeah.
You need something to connect to the internet. So I just had the laptop and I just started writing.
So nothing fancy.
Nothing really fancy for me. I just had a laptop and I just put it on my lap and started writing.
So even like the artwork itself, I mean, maybe in other cases might be different, but in this, was it included in the contract? The actual artwork for the book?
They're getting the artwork. It's not. They have their own people.
Right, but I'm saying like they're cut like that's covered in.
It's
like,
covered,
the
yeah.
contract.
I'm
Gotcha.
not. Yeah, it's all covered.
Got you. So, because I was just thinking, I'm sure in other circumstances, people probably have to find artists
Yeah.
to do the work.
The
which-
person they got was someone that they've done projects before, and so it
And that was
already
all
covered.
Don, like
Yeah.
Black Harbor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's like a good deal.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
yeah.
know if it works.
I
that
remember
way for
one
everyone.
time before I got a letter from this company called Doran's, and they were asking $4K for me.
Well,
And
Just for one book.
yeah, they had like all this like, oh, it's this amazing deal and everything, and I was actually thinking about taking it, and then my dad talked me out of it, and I'm so happy he did, because that would have been a waste of money.
I'm assuming this is not costing you $4,000.
No, it's way better.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad. I think Dorrance was like a scam or something. There's a lot of bad reviews.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, but no, Don's way better. They're really helpful. It's not $4,000.
Yeah. They just seem like the kind of people that actually care about helping like upcoming
They definitely do.
entrepreneurs and creatives to really get
they're
their
very
foot.
patient with me. When I tell them, I wasn't ready, and they were totally fine with it. And they just wanted me to tell them when I was ready. So they didn't want me to rush. And I would really appreciate that.
yeah.
So, did you have a
yeah,
question?
after like all of this influence of going through this whole process, like how has that changed or impacted your decision making with like, you're in college right now, you're undecided, you're getting a degree.
Mhm.
What is it gonna be, and like, do you have any future visions as far as like what you might be getting into after college?
I hope to still be writing. With everything that's happened like the past year, it's really shown me to be like more slower and be more rational in my decision making, because I was really for Dorrance, as I said, and if I were to have taken it, I would have lost 4,000. But now that after I've learned about that, I'm more like thinking about it, not just jumping on the first opportunity I see. And with after college, excuse me, I just hope to still be writing. I have a plan for a night in New York, and I have a plan for the Organ Harvester. This is something I really love doing. I see it more as just a hobby. I see it like an actual job. Hopefully one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And it's good passive income too,
Yeah.
to have a book that's just out on the internet and people can buy it whenever they want.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm working at Taco Bell right now, and to have that out would be like cool. Be cool to have passive income along with my current hourly income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I know you said you haven't you haven't thought like too far ahead when it comes to like the whole college stuff, which
Yeah.
is totally fine. But I guess in terms of like jobs post college, have you thought of any that might spark your interest as like a right out of college type of gig?
No, I haven't. To be honest, I've just been mainly hoping that the book turns out well and I'll be able to write, which is something I've always been thinking about. Like, I can't really think that my first book will be like a number one. I have to think about after the fact. So,
Yeah.
I don't know after college because I have to think about that.
Yeah, you got to get through this first project
Yeah.
first.
And
I gotta see like where this takes me. I have high hopes.
Hey, that's huge. I mean, like having the confidence to back, what you're putting out, as opposed to being like unsure of the quality.
I think I did a pretty great job on this one. I had help with this. I think with like the patience from Don and everything, I was able to bring out my best.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have plans for a story after
A
this
sequel?
one? Yeah.
I've already started one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, is this gonna be like a full like series or?
I plan to make a series. I was planning on making it just like a one-off story, but then I really got connected to the characters as I did, and so I just started making this whole storyline. So there'll be more to come.
Cool.
So, what types of stories outside of this series do you have in mind for like the future?
Like other.
Yeah, like I guess like what kinds of stories do you have kind of brewing in your
So
mind?
I have been thinking of one, and I've been like writing out ideas. I call it In the Iron Jaws. It's about a hunter who gets stuck in a bear trap in the middle of a forest.
Oh wow,
Kind of like a whole survival situation.
nice.
It's like he has his rifle. He only has a few amount of bullets. There's like wolves circling around him. Birds are picking at him. He's trying to find a way out. And that's one story I had. And I've been trying to get more into horror because I like making monsters. And there was another one. It's called The Seer. But it's kind of about. It's like a rough idea. It's kind of about this monster who has taken over a mall, and it's kind of like warping reality within it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sounds like kind of like a Stranger Things
Yeah.
type of ordeal. I like that.
Yeah, my whole idea was, it would turn people's guilt into like reality,
Oh,
like
shit.
like a form, kind of like if you were guilty about something, it would turn your guilt into a manifestation and it would hunt you down.
Damn.
Until you've like purged the guilt, until you
Right.
you
You
don't
made
feel
it right.
guilty. It's kind of like a helper monster. Like
Yeah.
if they don't figure it out, then
It's kind of like with Harry Potter, the what is it? The thing, it like takes shape of like your worst fear, and then you have to.
God,
I forget.
Okay, I have to remember. I've only seen the movies.
It's the third movie. I want to
Third.
say.
Was
forget.
Was it the mirror?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
It's like in a box, and it like
ended
comes out and
turning into like
it like
the
shape
death,
shifts into
the
yeah.
Death
Oh,
Eater.
that. I just don't know the name of it.
Yeah, I forget what
I
it's-
always call it. I always thought it was called Pandora's Box for some reason.
Maybe.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what
I'm
you're
sure
talking
I'm sure
about. Someone
will-
walks up to it,
Yeah.
just turns to your worst fear.
Yeah.
The one
So
that
it's
will-
kind of
the
like that
ghosts.
idea.
Yeah.
That's and you have to like use a spell to like
Yeah.
make it go away or whatever.
But outside of writing, do you have any other hobbies?
I play video games. I like to try new things. We have a boat we've been taking out on the lake. I like going tubing. I kind of like how it goes fast, and I like falling off it because one time I got to skid across the water like a pebble. I kind of like the movie, like the Jackass movies. I kind of like to feel like Steve-O or Johnny Knoxville, just like, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and just fall into the water.
What lake do you go out on?
It's Onondaga.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, we don't live too far from it. We go to a marina and we just put the boat in and we just drive off.
That's awesome.
No, just you mentioned about you want to be a zoologist. What
Yeah,
kind of initially inspired you to do
Like
that?
very young, like when I was like in like elementary school.
Do you not want to do that anymore?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think I like really liked animals. Like I loved them.
Right.
And then I was like, I want to have my own zoo.
Mm.
Because I think that's when the movie We Bought a Zoo came out.
Okay.
And I was like, that's so awesome. And then I just totally like gave up on it. Because then you have science and all that, and I was not great at science.
Fair. It's definitely not for everyone. I don't know. I can do
What
it.
kind of movies do you like watching?
Oh, all kinds. One of my favorites is The Green Book.
I haven't seen that
It's-
before.
2018. It's based on a true story. I forgot.
Was that on Netflix?
I think so. It's called The Green Book. It was about a guy, Tony Lip. He's taken around. This was like during segregation. It was like during like the whole like race thing, like years ago. He was taking around a black man in the South who's playing piano for all these white people. It's a nice story about bounding and all that, but I like all kinds. I like superhero movies. I like horror. Horror's really cool, especially with the new It movies. I just like about anything.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, nice. Great
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite horror movie?
Oh, God, that's a hard one.
There's so many.
There's so many. It's just like there's like so many iconic killers, like Michael Myers, Jason, and Chucky. It's really hard to pick like a good horror movie because there's always a new one, like a new idea coming out. If I was to pick one, I would say Friday the 13th.
Classic.
Yeah, I like the remake the recent remake when he's more like survivalist and he's running around because that's just terrifying.
Yeah.
He's using bear traps. It's
Yeah.
like way more terrifying.
Way more like real.
It's
Yeah.
just like a survivalist. He's not like a zombie. He's just a survivalist
Yeah.
now. He's just like, well, I can teleport. I can just run at you, which is way more scary to me.
Yeah, I think my personal favorite horror movie is Sinister.
Oh, I've
That
seen
one was
that.
good.
Yeah, that first one was like one of the like scariest things
Oh,
I've
yeah.
like watched. Or maybe not like it was just more unnerving.
Yeah, it was like Bagul, I think.
Yeah.
He was just like terrifying. Like all the times when he was moving in the pictures and stuff was just very unnerving.
Yeah, like the way they I didn't really like the sequel of it, to be
Nah,
perfectly
neither do
honest,
I.
because they showed him way too much. But the first one, it was like they showed him enough where it was like when they did show it,
was
just like,
terrifying.
oh my god.
Like they're like in horror movies, like when they think they have to show the killer all the time, but the less you see the killer, the more afraid you are.
Right,
Because like
'cause-
the tiniest little creak in wood can like scare you. 'Cause
Yeah.
you don't see him.
There's
you're
way
only
more
hearing.
suspense going on.
Yeah, that's why that's why movies like The Thing or something where you don't know who the monster is way more terrifying because it could be anywhere, it could be anyone.
So, I know you said you wanted to like write like horror movie, books.
Yeah.
Is that like a genre that you see? Like, do you see a specific genre in writing that you really want to just like go after, or are you gonna keep it more general?
I kind of want to be like multi, because I like doing the superhero stuff when I was doing the Organ Harvester. I like doing the kid friendly stuff with The Night in New York. I think that was really good for me to like tone it back down the blood and gore, and it really helped me do learn better writing tactics than just having someone kill a guy.
Yeah.
And I like writing horror as well because it's suspense, seeing how well you can make someone afraid just by reading.
Yeah. That's very true.
And so I kind of want to keep that whole multi thing. I want to be able to write anything anytime, because I just don't want to be stuck to one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about making movies?
Oh, I would always. If I had the chance, I would love to. I took a movie class in college, and it just. When I was little, when my dad showed me all the classics like Ghostbusters, Terminator 2, and the first one, the Jurassic Park, I was just this is so awesome. Like making your own world or worlds based off of books like Jurassic Park, it's just so awesome. I just want to know what I would make.
Well, with your writing, how you're talking about, you're making characters based off your emotions and stuff, that definitely shows through. Just how you speak about it and trying to make people feel a certain way based off of what's going on.
Yeah.
And you can do more dramatic effects with cinema.
Well, yeah, and I mean the other thing too is you wouldn't necessarily have to be the one making the movie.
Yeah,
it would be made off of your story or whatever.
I've always thought about the really lucky chance of an adaptation. I would love to be a part of the project. I just don't think I could be a director.
Mm.
I remember when Stephen King did the movie Monster Trucks, and that was just the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. That was like seeing during this whole cocaine and alcohol thing, where I think during one of his interviews he said, I don't even remember half of it. And I was like, I don't think I can do what he did.
Yeah.
I would like to be like on the side, tell them like how the characters should look, how they should act, and all that. But I don't think I could tell people like what to do or how they should fall or all that.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, just like in Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, writer, but then
Yeah.
hands it off to the other people. Everyone plays a role.
Yeah,
And, like,
I would
making
leave
it
it
all
up
come
to
to life.
I would leave it up to the director and all them. I trust they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But this is a good start. You
Yeah.
know, you're on a good path.
Thank you.
So, you're writing book. So for anyone who's listening, I guess what types of advice could you give people that are either interested in writing like a full blown book or are currently doing it? Maybe they're stuck in their process.
Like if they have a writer's block.
Yeah. Like what kind of
So,
things could you tell
if
people? To help
if you're
them?
in a writer's block, like I had a writer's block at one point and it was just killing me because I wrote myself into a corner. Just like if you're writing on paper, if you're writing on a computer, just take out another sheet of paper, open another document, and just write down ideas of what you can do to get past it. Like you don't have to write it down because then if you don't like it, you'll have to delete everything you just did, which I did a lot. Just on a separate piece of paper, just take a pencil, just write down an idea. They don't have to be good, they don't have to make sense. Just write down an idea to help you get past it. Just
From that idea? So it's kind of stemming off the idea that you're getting the writer's block into?
Yeah, so when I had a writer's block, it was with one of the monsters. I'll say I kind of made it so he was indestructible, and that kind of wrote me into a corner. So I just was like, how do I get past that? So I just started to think about like, what did I put in the book already? What could I do? Or what could happen? So I just started writing down all these like, little sentences like this happened or that happened or she knew about this or she knew about that. So just like writing something till something sounded like the most to make sense.
But do you ever have to go back into the book? So like if you
Sometimes I like to if I make something I have to go back and put it in there.
to change it up a little bit to
Yeah.
match what's
I had to do
going
that
to
about
happen?
once or twice, but not too much.
No,
Just to
okay.
make sure,
There's
it
no
makes
holes
sense.
in the plot.
Yeah, no plot holes. I did my best to make sure, I had to go back and change some names because my main character Amanda, I didn't have a last name for her at the time, so I wrote down Jones, and then I made up a last name, and then I had to change all the last names into the new last name, and I did miss a couple, and so Don pointed that out, and now he just has to change it because he didn't know if it was Jones or Underwood.
Oh, okay. Just to get an idea, how many pages is this book going to be?
About 350.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Nice.
On my computer, it was about 100, but in book form, 350.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so this is gonna be in hardback or paperback or both.
Or ebook.
I think we have an audiobook, an ebook, and I think paperback. I don't know about hardcover. I think we have paperback, ebook, and audio is what we have. We had 3.
For the audiobook, did you have to speak the whole thing, or did you give that to Don to do?
We're finding some. They already found someone.
Oh, okay.
They have
There's like a voice actors
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, so what they did was they just find people, like how they found their cover art. They already had someone, but for the audio book, they look people up, they listen to stuff they've done before, and then they tell them, this woman sounds good, and we really recommend her and such. So they give me people, and I've listened, and then after we pick a person, that's when we give them the final copy to read aloud.
Okay.
That's really exciting.
And you're
Yeah.
just going to have one person through the whole
One
thing.
person. It's not going to be. I know in one of the Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling had 7 people, and I don't know how that's I'm fine with just sticking to the one person.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's probably a pretty hefty budget to have 7 people
Yeah,
true.
reading your book.
Yeah. It's kind of from a narrator's perspective, anyways.
Yeah, true.
Would it be better though, like if you, let's say you had 7 characters, to have each character play their role with
So
the different
only
voices?
like a few. So we have their 2 main characters, which is Amanda and Roland, and then we have side character. We have Amanda, Roland, and then we have our main bad guy, Direptix. We have another main character, but I don't want to say it because it would be a spoiler. And then we have some side characters. So, like a few, like, there's a lot of side characters, such for, like, comedic effect and stuff. And so I just didn't want to, like, if we were to, I wouldn't want to, like, get someone just to say, like, 4 lines.
Yeah. That's, like, a lot of work just for, like, that.
Yeah.
At least at this point, like, early on in your career of, like,
Yeah.
writing, you know?
She's J.K. Rowling's a professional, she's really good at writing, and she knows what she's doing. I just want to make sure I can get past this. I want to make sure it comes out great, because I know it will. And I just want to make sure it's just like I don't want to go, like, over the deep end and, like, say, like, I got, like, 10 people reading. I got, like, this whole limited edition copy. I just want a nice, regular, just book.
Yeah. And also, like, getting through that, like, first iteration of something, like, you're gonna be able to learn from that, and then the next time you go through the process.
They do say, the more you write, the better you get.
Yeah.
You write one book, you get better. Then, as you go on, you tend to learn from your mistakes, and you get better. Your writing becomes better altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel that has, like, rubbed off on you, like, through the process?
I think it has. I think from my mistakes from the Organ Harvester, I've gotten better because the Organ Harvester was kind of like 2 different perspectives, and then I really was not, like, good in that. I always changed, because it always, when I was writing, it always sounded like it was coming from a narrative perspective instead of, like, the main character's perspective. And so I think I just messed up way too much with that. So for The Night in New York, I decided to just have the narrative perspective, not the main, and just,
Oh, got you.
Sorry, I'm trying to make it sound, so I didn't want to write from the perspective, I didn't want to say it, like, in first person Amanda, in first person Roland, have 2 people,
Talking,
because then that would be confusing, which it was in the Organ Harvester. Because that was very confusing. I don't want these 2 people talking, because as soon as one person talks, and then I make it so another person talks, it'd be confusing, because you don't know if the same person's still talking.
Right. So is Amanda the one that's narrating the story?
No, it's just narrator.
Or just a narrator?
Just a disembodied voice.
Got you. I like that.
Because I just didn't want to repeat the same mistake.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, from this whole process of the writing process, what would you say the most enjoyable part of it was?
Making the monsters.
Okay.
So
the initial, like, story, plot line.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm the kind of person who's very childish in mind. I just like thinking of, like, really cool stuff. Making up monsters is really fun. What hasn't been done before, what would look cool, what would look very interesting, and I think that was the best part. We have, we have, like, I'll give one away, we have a Minotaur, which is really cool. And, it was very creative, like, how did the Minotaur get here? And so there's a very, it was a very creative process I had to go through, and, like, how I got all these monsters in this area.
So, I'm just gonna bring this up now because we're talking about it, and just for, like, when we post and everything.
Yeah.
You said you had, like, some drawings of characters, and also you have, like, the actual artwork for the book. Is there any way that you could actually send that to us so when we post that there's, like, some content to show people?
I can contact Don. I don't have the cover art myself. He has it. I can ask him, like, send you, like, the copy.
Okay.
But it'd be, that sounds good.
Yeah, I feel like it would be cool to kind of give people a little bit more of an insight as to, like
a whole, like, image.
Yeah, so they have kind of like a face to a name type of thing.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I don't have the art right now. It's still with Don. it's just like, you know, a rough sketch, but I can talk to him.
Yeah, even if it was like unfinished, I think that would be cool, just
Alright.
for anyone who's interested to look into it a little bit more.
Okay.
I had a question that was brewing in my head.
All right.
So kind of like I know we talked about like writer's block and stuff, but I guess what advice would you give to someone who has never written a book but it wants to get started? Like where do you begin? Kind of
Well,
thing.
you gotta begin with like, what do you want to write? Do you like horror? Do you like love story? Do you like what is your like poison? Is what you're asking yourself. Like, don't write something that you're gonna hate halfway through, because then you just wasted a lot of time, and then just realize that you don't like this anymore. You wanna do something that you know you're gonna like. Like, don't force yourself to write a love story because that's what's popular, or don't force yourself to write this because that's what like a lot of young people like. Write what you want to write, and do to the best of your ability. Do to the best of your ability, like, to make that good, because if you're just copying someone else or copying like a trend, then it's not really that special.
True.
So I what I'm hearing right now, it sounds like through the whole like writing process of it,
Yeah.
there's a lot of self-discovery in it,
Yeah.
and like learning more about yourself.
Yeah, you gotta find what you're good with. Because
So from this whole process, like, what would you say the biggest thing that you learned about yourself?
so at the beginning with Lene New York, I really didn't want to do it, to be honest, because I didn't want to become kid friendly. I didn't want to write a family story because I was really into like the blood and guts, like the whole like dark stories and all that. But the more I wrote, just I wasn't even thinking about finishing at times. I was just thinking about just writing it just to, get all that stuff out and go back to the other story. And then as I'm writing, I realized that it's not that bad, having to do something else, having to branch out from your comfort zone, writing something more kid friendly and not having all these like dark undertones, or everyone's always miserable or upset or angry. Having just a little bit of like emotion, but more adventure and happiness and like a happy ending. That's I realize that not everything has to be like all these dark sad endings. There can always be a happy ending, is what I've realized.
Yeah,
You don't always have to be dark or anything.
Yeah.
And what you're hitting at is talking about like human emotions and human nature itself.
Yeah.
So one question that we always ask on this podcast is, what does it mean to be human to you? The idea of being human.
I think to be human is we all have a road in life, and that road will always split. There'll always be a fork in it. Sometimes you'll diverge from that path for a while, and you'll try to do other stuff, and that's okay. But in the end, that whatever path you take, it'll be the one you choose, the one you're most happy with. And as long as you're happy with what you choose, that's what should matter.
But it should always come from the heart.
It should always come. You should never let somebody choose your road for you, because you need to find that control in your life. Because if you don't have control, you don't know what road you're taking. You're just taking what other people want you to take.
And if you take it, you might have regret later on.
Or resentment.
You might regret what you did. You might not like what you're doing. You might have wanted to been, I wanted to be a dancer, but my parents wanted me to be a doctor, so I went to doctor school, and halfway through doctor school, you're not liking it, and now you regret not going and saying, I don't want to be a doctor. You need to find a time. You need to know what you want. You need to tell people that's what I want to do. You need to just become yourself.
So as you being a writer and having that background of like the creative process, what would you recommend for people to maybe figure out the essence of who they are?
You never want to be fake. You don't want to have to put on a mask all the time.
Right. So could you give maybe some advice as far as like how you find that, or how you personally have found that?
I personally found it, when in high school, like during that whole depression time, I just wore a mask and told everyone I was fine, and I wasn't. And then, I realized one day, I was alone. I don't really hang out with people. I just went to work and I went home. I made excuses not to hang out. And then that's when I realized, I've just been telling people I've been fine when I'm not. And that's when I realized I've just been lying to myself. I've been faking to myself. Your worst enemy is yourself at times. And so you need to get past yourself. You need, reach out to people you trust. And then, only then, will you be able to start to take off that mask you've been putting on. If that makes sense. I'm sorry.
And honestly, like,
that was good.
The themes you're hitting on are really, really in line with self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge, that's a huge theme that we talk a lot about on this podcast with other creatives, is that in order to really grow as a person and in your craft, being self-aware is a very, it's like paramount to developing even farther along that journey.
Yeah. You just need to know yourself.
Yeah.
Kind of
And I like what you're hitting on too with like letting your guard down.
Yeah.
That you're not trying to be someone, but you're just trying to be yourself, and by being yourself you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah. And without vulnerability, we all just say, we're fine, there's nothing wrong with me. But, showing a little vulnerability will show that, if you don't show vulnerability, then, you don't let people in.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't tell people what's wrong or something that's bothering you, you're basically just pushing them away. You're not letting them in. If you really say, this person's my best friend, or this is my girlfriend, or this is my boyfriend, but they really don't know anything like personal about you, you're not showing any vulnerability. You're just showing that you're just like perfect guy and get through anything, which you may be. But if you do have those vulnerabilities, you should be telling people. You should be like, if you trust this person enough, you should be telling them about yourself. You should be telling them, this is bothering me, or I'm just upset, or I'm angry. You shouldn't just be like keeping that all to yourself just so you don't hurt the person.
And especially if they love you, like it should be unconditional.
If they love you and you love them, and they tell you stuff and you don't want to tell them anything, then they're laying their guard down around you. You should do the same.
Yeah, and they
I know
end up
it may be
loving.
hard for some people, but
they might end up loving like the fake version of you.
Yeah, that's like a whole problem. If you keep up this persona of this fake person of yourself, then one day you don't want to be this person anymore. No one will recognize you.
Yeah,
everyone will be like, what happened to this fun outgoing guy? And that's when you realize you've made this persona for so long that everyone knows you as that person, not the person you've been hiding.
It's kind of like, I really like your analogy of it being a mask.
Yeah.
And I kind of started to think about it as we've been talking here, that it's kind of it's like a symbolic way of talking about like stripping yourself of your ego a bit. Like your ego is kind of this like persona that you develop over the years, and then you start to realize that there's parts of it that tend to
strip.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is like your ego, this persona is kind of developed around what expectations are being set by other people about who they want you to be or who they think you are.
Yeah.
And by kind of stripping yourself of this mask and being more true to who you are, I think you'll realize, what people in your life truly matter, and who actually have your back, and also allow you to really, go, balls to the walls at the things you really want to do, because you don't care anymore about what anyone thinks.
Yeah, that's what I became, I always, when, like, during the middle school to junior high, because we have a junior high, I always cared about what people thought about me, and then I just stopped, because, I don't know you.
Right.
Unless you're my friend or family, I don't know you. I probably won't see you again. Why should I change myself around you?
Yeah.
I should be me and not be anyone else.
That will take you literally so far in life. Like, I mean, we're in our like mid-20s right now, and I can tell you that I know plenty of people my age who still have not figured that out. So you're definitely well far, along than most people, especially your age. I know a lot of people your age definitely don't have that figured out.
No, I'm just happy to be in this mindset instead of oh, I'm cool, I know what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the best.
Yeah.
I can never see myself being that guy.
Like it's okay to be where you're at and know that it's not the best it could be, but you're striving towards something.
I'm not the world's best author, but something I'm striving for. I won't get it today. I probably won't get it tomorrow. I probably won't get it 10 years from now, but it's something I'm hoping to do. And as long as I have that motivation, nothing will stop me.
Yeah, I mean that's
Good luck.
Yeah, like honestly, that's like the best thing. Like I said, the confidence that I've experienced through your story is gonna take you really far. I mean, you have to be confident in what you're doing as a creative, or people are never gonna take it serious.
Exactly.
And it really has to come from the artist first. If the artist believes in it, then manifestation. There you go. Like you're manifesting a positive reality for yourself, and the more you push those positive thoughts at it, the more you'll realize that it's gonna actually happen.
Yeah.
And to hit on what Andy's saying with confidence, I think like the reason why, as an artist, you have confidence, maybe not you specifically, but just talking in general, an artist, is because they have figured out who they are. And so when you do that, you're not chasing anymore. You're just kind of being,
Yeah.
And that's a sense of peace. You're coming at a project with this confidence that like, oh, whatever I do, it's gonna be me.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be good based off of like other people's expectations, but as long as it's you, you know that you've done your job as an artist. Because that's all artistry is self-expression at its very core.
Yeah.
You just like I've said, you have to be yourself when you're making this stuff. You can't rely on. I mean, you can rely on like friends and family, but they shouldn't be like telling you what to write or what to draw or anything. That should be your control. Like when you're writing, you're basically making an entire world, and you are in control of this world, and you don't want anyone else's hands in your pot.
Yeah, too
Like
many
this-
cooks in the kitchen.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many cooks in the kitchen just ruins the entire stew.
Yeah.
And so, it may be selfish when you first think about it, but my family just, has opinions, and that's okay. But have them have your opinions, after you show them the book when it's fully done. Not, during the process where they have control, where they may have control and changing it into something they would like. Do it after when you know you're done and just want their opinions on it.
Yeah, that's I've learned that the hard way. Whether it was working on a video or a design, is showing even the artwork in the room here. Like I showed some of the people the work I was doing as it was in the middle of the process, and I noticed that they'd be like, oh, you should do this, or you should do that, and then it's in your head afterwards because you're like, I don't want to do that, but there's this expectation of it now.
Yeah, because you think if this one person wants it like that, how many other people would want it like that?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's what happens, and it just starts banging around in your head, and that's how a lot of people just messed up their vision of what they wanted.
Yeah, and I definitely think that it definitely applies with writing. The last thing you want is someone to get you out of that flow state of no, this is where it's going, don't make me diverge from this.
Yeah, when you're in the zone, you're just writing, if you can find that one good sentence, just go off it, and then someone comes up and ruins the flow, and then you don't know what to think because you were just in that flow.
Yeah.
Because I've had that happen once. I was writing in college and I was on
Just once?
Just once, because then I wore
That's
headphones
good.
after.
Yeah,
Hey.
he adapted.
Because after that, I was like, oh, wait, should I do this? Because the camera was he was ringing behind my back while I was writing. Are you sure you want to write? I didn't even know who this guy was. I didn't even know
That's
who
so
he was. I was
creepy.
just Like, I was eating in a cafeteria and had my laptop next to me. I was, like, multitasking. And he just came up, but I didn't even know who this guy was. Like, I like what you're writing, man, but are you sure you want to do that? And then it just got stuck in my head. And then at that point, unless I was singing with friends, I put headphones in my ears.
Yeah.
Because after that, it was just like, I don't want, like, other people judging me without me even knowing.
Yeah.
Because it will happen. People will judge you. But,
Yeah.
you know,
That's the hardest part.
that's the hardest part.
We want to be ourselves, but we're also like, it sucks to get judged in a negative
but, you
way.
know, sometimes there's constructive criticism, or they're just people being jerks.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
you know, it's good to have that constructive criticism, because they're being harsh, but they're also giving you, like, good feedback at the same time. Like, you know, this didn't make sense because of this and this, but then there's just criticism, like, this just sucks.
Yeah.
And you want to have those people who are more constructive than just negative about it.
Yeah.
The people that want the best for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, constructive criticism is coming from a place of like wanting to see someone succeed, whereas just negative criticism is just like people projecting insecurities onto you. I mean, like, if someone was to come up to you and be like, "Oh, that's garbage," or you write stupid things, it's like they're probably just like envious that you're following a passion of yours and they haven't figured their shit out.
Well, you know, this is kind of the age where, like, you ask a person, what do you want to do with your life? And it's sad. I don't want to say it's sad, but some people will be like, I still don't know. And, you know, it's okay to not know.
We're always figuring it out.
Yeah, because, you know, at one point in your life you want to do one thing, but now you change to another because you just don't know what it is you want to do yet. Because a lot of people say what you pick is permanent, which...
That's not true.
Not true at all.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, having that constructive criticism always helps. And if I have a friend and he's being, like, constructively criticizing me, I accept that because, you know, he's being harsh, but he's coming from a good place being harsh. If I don't know you and you're just criticizing me, I don't know if you're being nice about it or being a jerk about it.
Yeah.
So if you were to give yourself constructive criticism, what would you give?
I don't know. I would just be like, I don't understand the story. I would be like that one guy reading behind my shoulder. I just read like one paragraph and be like, what are you writing here?
Yeah, it's like with very little context.
Yeah, just little I don't even remember what he read, but it's just like, I think it was just like some random fight scene. And he's just like, what the hell's going on, man? And I just like got so confused. If I was to criticize myself, I would just be like, you know, just be calm and be yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you rush it and if you stress about it too much, if you think I need to get this amount of pages done today, then you're gonna rush through it and you may not like the outcome at the end.
Right.
So you don't really set like constraints like that.
The only constraint I ever set was digestible chapters, and what I mean by that is like very short like about 6 pages. And, you know, I want something so, like, if you're in the middle of something, like if you're going from one class to another, you have like a half hour to spare or like 45 minutes, you can just read a chapter. Like a digestible bite.
Yeah.
Like, I would always feel bad if I went over 6, because I would be like, am I going too far into it? The most I've ever written for one chapter is, I was thinking about 7.5. But that's like, I've always tried to keep it to 6. Because 6 just is like a good number for me.
Yeah. There's definitely some books where the chapters are just like, alright, I just want to be done with this chapter.
Yeah. That was one of my big fears. Like, I didn't want to like go too deep into it, where it's just like, you just start getting bored with it. Because I know some chapters can go on for like, you know, 10 to 15 pages, and some chapters even go on for like 40. So I just wanted to keep it like nice and short. You understand what's going on, you understand where you are right now, and you can just come back and remember where you were.
And that'll definitely be good for like the younger reader.
Yeah.
Which seems like it kind of geared a little bit more towards just like not necessarily reading at like a super like a like a, you know,
College level.
like reading freaking like The Hobbit, you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I can barely stand reading that, and I can read at like a very high level, and I'm just like,
I've tried to read Lord of the Rings, but everyone tells me it's just like this really hard read, and I'm like, Jesus.
Oh yeah, I tried.
And
I was
like,
like, I'm just rather watch a
I
movie.
like a challenge, but I just don't want to like give my brain this like whole mental breakdown.
Yeah.
My brain's mental breakdown.
Well, it's interesting because some art, and I think those tend to be the books. With,
No. I'm sorry, my phone went off.
Oh, okay.
It just like I have like random things that just buzz at different times. Oh no, it's just Burger King.
I think those books tend to be the books with the longer chapters, like Lord of the Rings, for example.
Yeah.
Tolkien just like will describe
Everything.
like a rock. He'll describe it for a page.
I know.
And it's like, why?
Like we don't.
No one cares.
The best thing I've ever heard about this was we don't need the backstory on every tree branch.
Yeah, literally.
That's like the one thing that always kept me away from it because everyone told me like he describes everything. And I'm like, what do you mean by everything? Like you see that rock over there, Josh? Like yeah. I hope you like that rock.
Because you're gonna know a lot more than you wish you knew.
You're gonna know about his family. You're gonna know about his divorce. You're gonna know everything. What about the main character? Oh, you shut up about him. This rock right here.
Yeah, like as a very seldom reader, reading for me has to be like, I can't read anything that takes too long to get to the point, because I have my attention span is very small. So if I'm not interested pretty quickly, like I'll give it a chance and try to let it plot build. But even if the plot building is just way too drawn out, I start to like get tired or bored of it, and then I'm like, I'd rather just watch the movie version.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, at least there's something visual to like keep me engaged.
That's why it was like the prologue. I try to make a nice like action set piece, like this whole siege on Camelot, just something to bring you in.
Yeah, like holy crap, a lot of stuff just happened.
Yeah, and that was kind of like my whole. That's why I wanted like this whole like action at the beginning because if you start off with just like. If you were to tell like this big action scene, but you don't like ever see it, or it was never like it was only told in like a backstory, like you don't really get the feel for it. If it was like if you're actually like in that moment in time during that fight, then you get like this is happening and this is happening, and this whole siege is horrible and so much fighting, and that seemed more appealing than someone just telling you about it from their perspective.
Yeah, true. You like have them live it first.
Yeah, have them live it and then tell the backstory.
Yeah, that's really cool. Trying to think of.
Do you think we covered everything that you wanted to get out to the people?
Yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to?
I don't know. I've just been enjoying talking to you guys.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Though? I know you came in. You're like,
I was
kinda
very nervous. I
was like,
always get nervous before something. I went to the dentist like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, my heart's pumping. Like, oh god, oh god.
No, yeah.
You feel better?
Yeah, my
through
teeth
this?
feel great.
Yeah. So, no, this has been great, and I'm really happy Don reached out.
Yeah,
To us.
It's been great.
So if there's nothing else, I think I've maxed out my questions.
All right.
If you want, this is your chance. You can kind of tell the world anything you want to tell them. Where they can find you. I know you said you're not big on social, but
okay.
if there's a place that you might be posting about the book in the coming days.
I may post. Okay. So I may post about the book on my Facebook, Joshua Montreal. You'll know it's my account because I have a very awesome picture of myself during junior high, 9th grade. I remember so well because I was the only one who did it. My teacher brought in a deer heart, and I was the only one who held it. So there's a selfie of me holding a deer heart. So you'll know that's me. I'll try to post more stuff on Facebook. I have an Instagram as well. I can't remember the name of it.
We were trying to find it.
You were?
But, yeah, but I was having trouble.
Let me see what the name is because I only posted like 5 pictures on that. Wait, what is it actually? No, I'm curious. Who am I?
And we'll have all these posted in the description for anyone
Yes.
listening.
Yeah, we just gotta know what the tag is.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's Josh from Montreal, but it was it was 4 L's. Josh
Oh, okay.
Montreal. Because I always go by Josh.
Okay.
You'll,
And now, when you like post the book and everything like that, are you gonna have that on?
I'll try to do more social media.
medias?
I'll try to post more like art that's been shown and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be better for me, have a social presence. I never wanted to be on social media during high school because everyone is horrible.
Yeah, social
During-
media is ridiculous.
No, because during high school, that's when it was worse. One time, my friend posted, there was this one girl who posted something, and my friend, just said something, and they almost had a fight in the lunchroom until I got in the middle of it. I'm like, no, you
High
back
school
up.
drama.
That's why I just don't like using social media, because there's always drama.
Yeah.
No matter what. You could be talking about the weather, and someone be saying, oh, the weather, huh?
Yeah.
That's a government conspiracy. There's
Yeah.
always someone on the internet.
Yeah.
But
you can use it as a tool.
yeah,
It's a good tool if you want to
Sorry,
get
I'm
your...
on my phone. I just want to make
No,
sure
you're
it's
fine.
it's Josh Montreal. Ooh, with all those L's.
You said 4 L's?
Yeah, it's one word, 4 L's. I'll try to post more. Not really much of social media as I said, but I'll try to do it more often.
So so I guess we'll have to we'll probably make a post or something once you kind of get to the point where you're ready to release the book or whatever. We can do some posts about it as well.
You want to do a catch-up podcast?
Yeah.
Sure. I
Sweet.
mean, we could totally do that. Talk about.
Or we could do maybe a cinematic interview with you with more I have my DSLR. We could use that.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Kinda
I'm a
make,
full time.
I'm down for whatever. Like I said, I want to try
I was
new
gonna say
stuff.
I'm a full-time filmmaker
Yeah.
now, so
I got you
yeah.
ready for the movies that'll come.
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, it could be cool to do a quick minute to 2 minute video, kind of talking about the book, showing it
Yeah.
off a little bit. And
We do
then-
plan to have a trailer for it.
Cool.
A live action trailer.
Nice.
And some stuff which I'm excited for as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I guess be on the lookout for the book coming this winter, hopefully. And
Night in New York.
Night in New York, and it's been great to have you on.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you
thanks,
for
man.
having me. It's
Yeah.
been just a great time.
For sure, and we'll have to keep in touch
Mm-hmm.
as
I
the
got your
process
email.
go.
I got your number.
Hell yeah, yeah. I mean,
I won't stalk you. That's
we're,
okay.
we're
I
usually
won't ask you about your favorite scary movie.
we're usually pretty responsive when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely, if you ever have a thought or want to reach out, whatever,
Okay.
totally open. Cool. All
Alright,
right. Well,
That's
that's
about
a
it.
wrap.
All right. Thanks.
3, 2, 1.
So there you have it. Thanks again for tuning in to BINDLISM, a philosophy to self-sufficient lifestyle. Be sure to explore other episodes of BINDLISM on our Spotify and Apple podcast. You can find more Boho Hobo stuff on Instagram and Twitter at Boho_Hobo_, as well as on our Facebook page at Boho Hobo Lifestyle. It'd also be dope if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Our YouTube channel has more episodes from BINDLISM in video form, along with other random shenanigans that we're up to. We're constantly filming new experiences, so it's one way you guys can stay up to date with us in our journey. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. Until next time, peace.